Hey, everybody. You might have noticed I got new digs. So, also, the sound's going to be a little bit echoey because I need to do some more treatment in the room, but I added all my books to my shelf. So, it's cut down a little bit already. And we're also seeing how much I annoy everybody else who's up on the second floor with the streaming late at night. But I'm here with Chris and Jason from Crit and Shadowmane, who were around to Ramble stream because I needed to check this place out and see how things were going. So, how are you folks doing tonight?
Doing well. It's good to see you
All
guys.
right.
Good
Yeah,
to.
good to see you guys.
It's very good to see you. And Jason, we're hanging out tomorrow night.
Yes, we are.
What are we doing tomorrow night?
Tomorrow, we are finishing up our epic read through of Dagger Heart.
There you go.
The cool chapters. Last month we did character creation. Now we're doing everything.
I did. I liked the GM section. I got to say, but we'll save that for tomorrow night. Tonight is a Ramble stream. So aside from seeing how much I annoy everybody else on the second floor and how the sound looks in here and just general setup of things, we thought we'd talk about books that we're currently reading. So I'm the host, so I'm going to start out. So this is one, and also it's also made my last couple of random thoughts, but this is Coriolis the Great Dark, and I am loving this book right now. Coriolis was a game I always thought was really interesting, but it was so well thought out in terms of lore. I couldn't figure out the cracks that I wanted to adventure in, and the book was inaccessible because it was very hard to read. And that was because of the layout, internal layout. Like Jason, have you seen Coriolis: The Third Horizon
No.
at all? Okay, so here, look. Like this is Coriolis: The Great Dark, right? That's very easy to read.
Yep.
Third Horizon, as I go, I'm going to screw up all my stuff. Is a beautiful book. So it's beautiful, very much so.
Yep.
But then when you open it up, that's what it looks like.
Is it? Oh.
It's like a lot of reverse contrast. They put a lot of skeuomorphic elements
Oh.
into it, and it was so tiring to read. It was so heavy. So actually, when they announced this book, I wasn't that interested in it because I was afraid that we are just going to do the same thing. But I played this at GameholeCon and it was fantastic. And the layout of this book is amazing, and I'm enjoying it so much. So that's my first book. Let's go. So Jason, you were here first. So what book are you reading right now?
Let's see. Well, aside from tomorrow night, we finish this one.
Daggerheart.
Oh, it's all fuzzy.
Why did it make it background? So
I am running two games at PAX East this weekend. So I
that's
am
right.
rereading uh,
What's it
Kids
doing
on
that?
Bike.
Do you have like your background blur on?
Yeah, let me see.
It thinks it's background blurry.
Hold on one moment.
Technical.
TTRPG fans, let's
Also, angle your camera down a little bit because your lower third is hiding your face. There we go.
like that.
Yeah, a little better.
Virtual background. Let's see. Blur back. It's my books are background.
There you go.
Here we go.
Kids
Kids
on
on Bike,
bikes.
second edition. I think it's the first time I've ran the second edition. And Kobolds ate my baby.
I
Yes.
literally just
All
got
Yes.
hail
that.
King Torg.
All
All
hail King
hail
Torg.
King Torg.
I just got that because you're going around and you're dropping off cards and stuff. I'm trying to buy like not too expensive things, and that was one of the books that I picked up. So I'm
I
looking forward to
I've
reading that.
had this forever. Well, as long as the orange has been out. But I haven't run it, and I only played it with the people from ninth level at Page. So I was like, oh, this is even better than I thought.
Well,
So
you
now
played
I'm,
it with
But
the right
it
people.
definitely has a storied, you know, 25, 27-year history.
it does. If
I
yeah,
didn't
you
know it
can
was
look it
around
up.
that long.
How
Really?
many different editions, and they're like, cheap paper staple
Somewhere on
bound.
one of these shelves right here, I have the original folio size saddle stapled
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
two, 2000 yellow copy that's there way before which is two editions, I think, before the orange book, but it
yep,
was still the third edition when it came out.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Okay, cool. I really want to get the ninth level games on to chat with them. They're local to the area, so I really want to
They're
hang
at
out with
Pack
them a little bit.
East. I can talk to them.
Are they? I mean, I have their contact. They're right in the area. I'm changing everybody's
You
names so
don't
the
have
lower
you
thirds are going around.
get them to come to EcclesiaCon.
You know what? I should invite them to come to EcclesiaCon. Do I have any spots open for? Maybe I'll get them to donate something. Yeah, so that would be fun. So that I really am looking forward to getting into Cobalt 8 My Baby. That's not currently on my list because it's over there on the shelf. I couldn't get to it. But that looks really cool. Chris, what do you got for your first game or
Um,
first book?
I have been picking up a couple of books that I'm sort of revisiting, and one of them is BRP, Universal Game Engine from
Mhm.
Chaosium. So basic role playing in its kind of
Yeah.
ultimate universal evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have been playing Call of Cthulhu since forever, and I love it. I think that the BRP and the core of Call of Cthulhu Seventh Edition, for its core resolution and general design, character generation, those sorts of things. I think it's crunchy done right, as far as I'm concerned. I think it stands head and shoulders as an excellent example of how you can have a game that is not a class-based game. And then, of course, BRP tries to let you work in any genre, UGE, I should say, work in any genre, work in any style of game that you want to run, but still have that same D100 percentile based core resolution mechanic and
Right.
a variety of skill based stuff.
Right.
Um, like most Chaosium books, it's pretty beautiful. Um, they really know how to produce things at this point in time, and so it's pretty pleasurable. The other thing I've been still dabbling in terms of trying to figure out how to construct adventures and write well is another favorite of yours, Sentinel Comics RPG. So I'm looking at
Yay.
that gyro slash euro system to to really understand, because it is funny. I love the way that it handles what I call the superhero problem, which
Okay.
is how do you you know how do you go from well trained masked crime fighter up to Omega level mutant
Right.
and earthbound god?
Right.
It's like how did those things work? And I think that the way that Sentinel Comics RPG addresses the superhero problem is in the way it demands a certain structure, not only for the way your powers are unlocked, but also for the way an adventure is written. And in doing so, it creates a certain interesting challenge to the GM, which is to sort of pay attention to this structure that it mandates, again with that gyro system,
Uh huh.
and to uh, it's almost as hard to write an adventure, in my opinion, for SCRPG as it is to write a mystery novel. I mean, there's a lot of mandated beats that need to be paid attention to and laid out for another game master if you're going to write an adventure that somebody else is going to run, or even if you're going to run it for yourself. Interesting problems, so I'm really kind of trying to understand the nuts and bolts of the system a little better. And as you have pointed out in several excellent videos, that book is a 320 page comic book
Yeah.
of how to do an RPG, and it's beautiful and uh, absolutely luxuriant in its layout choices, which are daunting for anybody who would want to self-publish it without a big bankroll. But
Yeah.
it's still an absolutely beautiful book to have on your shelf.
It is by far one of my favorite RPG books that I own. Like bar none. Like that. It is so perfect for the genre, and the system deserved so much more than it got. So I'm
I
I'm
agree with you on that.
very upset with it. But I have been told, although I don't have confirmation on this, is that the people who created it have gotten the rights back to the system, not necessarily Sentinel Comics. So they're apparently going to be continuing to iterate the gyro system. We'll see if that actually works out.
I think
So
that it's a cool set of mechanics, and I would be really interested to see how the people who originated it uh, choose to pursue it and sort of expand its use into other genres and styles. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
it would be very interesting. Now that the mechanics math site that you guys put me on, so I actually had the guy who created the site demonstrate the math to me. So he created the math input to show you how the rolls work. So for folks who don't know Sentinel Comics, you have a it's a, I always forget what the three sections are, but you essentially have three things that you can pull from. It's your status die, it's a skill or talent, and then it's like your ability. And so you roll those, and then depending on what you're doing, you use certain dice. But most of the time,
Every three dice pool
yeah,
generates a min, a max, and a
max
mid.
and a mid. And so with the way that the game is run is that most of the time you're doing basic moves, which means you just use the mid die. And so they showed me how the math works, and it really is designed to give you a twist more often than not. So for folks who don't know, when you're playing a game, you can fail or you can succeed with like a twist, or you do succeed with the twist. And so that's just a little thing like Aunt May is underneath the rubble that's falling onto the street. And so that just escalates things, and the way that a comic book really does. It can be challenging as a GM to run, because you really have to think like a comic book. And it's really interesting to watch people coming from like D&D to try to come in and do it, because they just want to punch everything until the hit points go away, and that's not how this system works.
And in fairness, I think that a GM who has only had experience in the kind of ironically super heroic fantasy that 5e tends to put
Yeah.
forth, especially in published adventures, I think it is a little bit of a learning curve and a little bit demanding, that while it still has that structure, not everything is written out for you as
Uh-huh.
to how things are going to play out. Your on-the-fly creativity has to be on point.
Yeah, and it took me a while to really get used to it, and I really enjoy running it now. I haven't done it in a while. I want to write an adventure for it, but there's no the community license. There might be one. Nobody's really sure. All right, next book that I'm going to, Jason, our friend Al. He dropped this on the table in front of me. It's like, here's a media copy. So he actually just dropped this for me.
Yeah, I don't have that yet.
This has got so many things in it that I want. So it's 2D20 system, and it's 1950s, essentially X-Files, little green men type things. And then, Al said nice things on the front page to me. So yeah, this has been sitting there for a while. I love the 1950s vehicles and whatnot.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to getting to this. I need to get a D20 or 2D20 game going. I was going to play Star Trek, and then everything fell apart. So we're seeing what we can do, but it just looks like it's going to be so much fun.
Do you have Sentience, Al's previous game?
I don't. I need to pick that up. So that's one that
Actually,
I'm
if
going
you're
to buy.
going to run that, we should have Al run it. But
I really want him to. I'm trying to see who's. You got the background noise, Jason.
me?
I got you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Which mic?
Yeah. Do you have a fan going or something?
Oh yeah. All right, hold on a second.
That's
I'll be right
okay.
back, sports fans.
Kelly, he always turns his camera off. It's like the scene from Christmas Story with the dad down in the basement. Darn, credit, freaking, freaking, darn, freaking, freaking. It's still flying or hovering over Lake Michigan to this day. Uh oh, no, we lost him completely.
It turned eerily silent
It
just then.
turned eerily silent. All right, so Chris, what do you got for your second book while we wait for Jason to come back?
Um, I'll tell you one other thing that I have been enjoying, and it's not a whole system other than one that I already know and love very much, but it's the new horror playset for Easy D6 from DM Scotty.
Oh, Doomscapes.
Dreadful Doomscapes is what it's called, and that is just another beautiful twist on Scotty's devilish genius when it comes to that. And it's basically it's a playset that is generally horror, but it revolves around two levels. There's the kind of everyday heroes level,
Mm-hmm.
uh, where you're more or less regular people who get dropped into any of your choice of kind of uh, survival horror, think slasher movie type of situations, and it's kind of geared along that level, paralleling much what we were talking about before with the difference between the street level masked crime fighter and the universe saving, you know,
I,
demigod superhero. It's
you
the
know
same
what?
sort of thing. And
Oh, there
then
we go.
the other one is Bloodborne Hunters. Bloodborne Hunters is got a little bit more of the vampire hunter type or even Delta Green style
Yeah.
approach to it. So it's a neat place. It's definitely really good, and it's thick. The book is actually thicker than I think any of the.
Oh, I removed the wrong person from the scene. So cool. Jason dropped off, so we're waiting for him to come back. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I watched Avenue Studios do a Bloodborne Hunters with DM Scotty.
Right on.
Jake was the GM, and then I was on Avenue Studios again, and we did Survivors, and I played.
Right on.
Jake was the GM. Or no, Scotty was the GM for Bloodborne Hunters, and then Jake was the GM for Survivors. I got murdered right as we were about to escape to the street. It was perfect, like absolutely perfect. I loved it, and Scotty, very thankful, he actually donated a copy of Dreadful Doomscapes for the EcclesiaCon auction. And
Outstanding.
Here comes Jason back again. Hey, Jason, how are
Outstanding.
you?
I'm fine, but my computer is so old that when I do any hardware switches, I have to close and open again.
What are you drinking?
Um, oh, it's not Sam Smith's. I'm drinking some local IPA.
Okay, get the IPA going on. All right, so Chris brought up
It's a tongue
Dreadful
twister.
Doomscapes for Easy D6 is his next book. Do you know that one?
I have nothing from Easy D6 except the core book itself.
The game is so much fun.
Or do
It
I?
just
Do I? I forget. I'm sure I have something in PDF. I looked at my PDF folder the other day and I was hit by like 12 games I had no idea I owned. I'm like, oh, I'm behind on my physical reading. I will never catch up on my PDF folder because of the bundle of holding
Bundle of
humble
holding,
bundle
yeah,
things.
without a
I'm
doubt.
I'm like, oh, I have
literally try not to do
Coriolis.
it.
Oops.
I try not to do the bundle of holding because I'm just like I'm never going to use these books. It's just like, do I really
I
need?
look at it. I look at it. I take the opposite approach, especially when there's just a ridiculous fire sale steal of a deal for
Yeah.
a bundle of holding. I say to myself, you know what? I'll spring that if it has anything that is even of remote interest to me. And then the day when somebody says, "Hey, do you know anything about whatever?" I can go to that folder and crash course it, and that
Yes.
can be very helpful. That has actually been of use to me a few times.
All right,
Well,
I'll rethink that.
I mean, the other thing is, I'm probably never gonna. Well, I wrote an article last year about. I took a photo of our bookshelf, shelf by shelf, because we have 5 shelves high, and I totaled up and did like a spreadsheet how many of these games have we actually played? And I think we were almost at 50%, but that's how many
Oh
unread books.
wow.
But the
Well,
thing about the PDFs is, if I say we decide to do an article on, I don't know, just make it up, like horror games or something, right? I can
Right.
go back in and look up. Somebody says, "Oh, you should talk about this," right? I could pull a quote or mechanics or something from some game that I'm never going to play. So sometimes it's good for me to have the reference just so I can write about it.
I do like
without a
having
doubt,
PDFs for a review.
or sometimes it's a setting, a
Yeah,
foe. It can be those little pieces that the enthusiastic and avid game master can mine and
yeah, you
say,
could
you know,
definitely steal
I
stuff.
may never play this game, but I bet I can port this idea over to my go-to system. And I sure do that a lot.
All right, so bundle of holding. I'll keep my eyes open now. Thank you so much. You've ruined my life a little bit more.
Here to help.
It's always good. All right, Jason, what do
Not
you got for
bad
your
if your
next?
memory is as bad as mine. Then you'll just forget that you have them, and
I'll buy them 3 times. It's great.
that's what I'm afraid about my thing.
I
I
have
have
eight
bought.
copies. I don't know how to transfer it to anybody else.
I
All right,
think
Well,
well,
you
the
just
one I
you just
know
have to
I've bought
create the
is
right workflow, Wes, because that's what I do.
yeah.
Every time I get ready to pull the trigger on a bundle of holding, I go search that folder to see if I've already bought the thing before.
I do stick all my PDFs with by publisher, so I have them all
Yeah.
organized that way.
But I'm
J-
pretty sure I've bought at least first responders more than once. And maybe no thank you evil. It's just yeah.
wow, no more copies. And no, thank you. All right, what's your
I,
second book,
I, I
Jason?
have actually bought games uh, that I hear the description of and I hear the buzz on the internet and they're like, "Oh, this is the world's greatest game," and I'm like, "I don't think I'm gonna like that." And then I'll buy the PDF if it comes really cheap, and then be like, "Yep, nope, don't like that. It sucks."
Yeah. Well,
It is a good safe buy.
But I
It's a safety
helped
purchase.
charity. I helped
yeah.
charity, and it made me
Well,
feel good.
That's true.
Wes, when Money Cook, the last few campaigns, right? If you back high enough, you get like, here's everything we ever wrote. And I have everything they've ever written. So,
Yeah.
but Money Cook is cool because I'll just like email Jen and say, can you transfer this to somebody else? And now somebody else has it
Oh,
as a
nice.
legal copy
Oh,
through their
I'll
store.
I'm gonna do that because I literally just did Numenera and Cipher System, and the Cipher
Yeah.
System or
If you
Numenera,
fill in your
or
coupons, you can just say,
everything.
can you transfer this to somebody else with an account?
Oh, I'll text Jen. Is
Very
Play
nice.
Journal? Hi, Chris. Is this the new recording space? This is the new recording space.
It
We
is.
are here in the new studio. Still need some more decoration. I need stuff over here and stuff over
But you know,
here.
whatever you did since this morning, Wes, has already helped significantly.
Oh, the books definitely help.
Yeah,
Your
it's
your
the
aud-
the
your audio sounds perfectly
Yeah.
clear.
the massive volume of books that are in here. So, and thanks for coming on, Chris. So, Jason, what's your next book?
What was my first book?
Your first
All right,
book? I don't
I'm going to
remember.
take the opportunity. I'm going to talk about kids on bikes.
You just
So
talked
this
about
is
that, but talk about it
sec.
again.
Yeah, but I didn't talk about the books. Second edition. I think the first book was around, say, 96 pages, maybe not even,
Hmm.
right? And it was great. I loved the thing. But I reread the second edition. It's 180 pages. It's 100, almost 100 pages longer than the other one.
Hmm.
Most of that's explanation because there were parts that were like, "What are you talking about?" But there are two things I noticed that are huge changes. One of them, the combat section is gone, and harm, it's described as doing harm. Anytime you want to do harm to somebody, here's what you have to do. And
Okay.
there's a full page on this has to be okayed in session zero. You all have to be okay with it. And this is interesting to me. It doesn't differentiate from physical or emotional harm. So it's the same mechanics if you were trying to punch someone in the face that it would be if you were trying to make them feel bad because of a fear you know they have.
Okay.
And there's no, in like Kids on Brooms, for instance, it's a deadly game because you take the number of damage you roll against somebody. It's an opposed roll,
Okay.
but if you take damage equal to the spread between the successor's roll and and a loser's roll. So if somebody rolls a 16 and you roll a 2,
Yeah,
you're dead.
that's a big hit.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
really but so this game, you go into a conflict if you want to inflict harm, and both people, the attacker and the defender, decide if they lose, what do they give up? What will they lose? Like, I'll be embarrassed that I lost a fight, or I'll actually break my nose. Something like anything like that, right?
Interesting.
And
Okay.
then you just roll against each other, and whoever wins narrates what happens. And
Okay.
that's it. So this is what I think I had said in your channel. I would bring these up before I ask anybody to play the game because it is so different than most RPGs, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't surprise somebody who just came from Pathfinder with this game, not without, prepping them because it's so different. But
Much
it's really
different.
cool.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, Jason, because it's an interesting quality of of our wonderful hobby here when you think about, hey, Glenn is here, uh about onboarding newcomers, and not
Yeah.
only onboarding newcomers, but uh also presenting a new system as a GM new to a system. uh that that onboarded ramp, that learning curve, uh can really be something that you need to pay attention to when you're trying to find the right place and the right group of participants to
Yeah.
cart things out, because that really does make a difference. It's one of the reasons that I am such a huge proponent of index card RPG, and honestly also EZD6, is because both of them, for most GMs, for most players, I find them virtually effortless to get people, regardless of experience and what they have experience with, or if they're completely new to the hobby. Those are systems that are very intuitive and flexible for me as a GM, and for players who are new to the system. So I definitely, there are so many great systems that aren't easy to GM the first time, or are
Yes.
not that easy for a player to pick up. So I do pay attention to that. I think that that's a good point
Yeah.
that you make.
Well, Wes, honestly, to get ahead of ourselves for tomorrow, I don't think Daggerheart is that easy to DM the first couple of times.
I don't think it's easy at all.
But
And if you're experienced, you can get it.
yeah,
But
but I don't think I would. I mean, I've been doing this forever, but I think it would still take me several sessions to really get the fear mechanic, like how often to use it. But that's questions for tomorrow.
yeah.
But Chris, one of the things I really love about Index Card and EZD6, they're thematically resilient. You could play a goofy, fun game with the
Hmm.
same mechanics as a spooky, deadly horror game, right?
Yes,
And
100%.
now,
That's a
technically, you
it's
could do anything with any
excellent point.
game. But if you're playing Delta Green, you're not going to be cracking goofy jokes, right? But
You know what?
yeah,
I have never played or looked at Delta Green.
You're
well,
spot on, Jason. It's the universality is what keeps me coming back
yeah,
to those as kind of a go-to, because they have a streamlined, especially in the case of EZD6, a very streamlined toolkit, but intuitive, and nothing about the lore or about a particular genre is baked into the core mechanics, which is exactly what you're saying, and that gives you such creative flexibility as the
yeah,
author of an adventure to make it whatever you want it to be, and glue on any little pieces that you need to support the genre and the style and the tone of what you're
right.
producing.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
100%.
both. They're very very good.
and
No,
beyond theme, even tone, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's a
absolutely.
little bit of
Tone.
that in like Kids on Bikes. Like it's called Kids on Bikes, but it's not a family game, or it's not necessarily a family game. You could play it that way, where it turns into, like the movie Sandlot, that kind of thing, right? Where you could play it with a bunch of kids as players.
yeah, yeah.
You could also play with adults who happen to have kid characters, and it could be like I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, but it
I mean,
still
it's
isn't as
Stranger
flexible
Things
as
the
index
game.
card.
It's Stranger Things the game.
It
It
is.
is,
It
but
is.
the tone doesn't have to be that way. It
I
could
guess
be
that's
something
true.
because it's Stranger Things and E.T. and Goonies.
Yeah, because
This is
you're right.
true.
It doesn't have to be like a heartwarming adventure. It doesn't have to be a uh, kind of junior heroics, and it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
it could easily be straight up survival horror.
But it's not, well, it's not that wide. Not like index card is or
Yeah, okay.
easy to say.
I won't say it,
The
some of
parameters
the
are
of those three. Some are easier than others, but you are right that it does give you at least we could debate it, and I
yeah.
think your point is fair. But I think you're right. There's a certain latitude, and I think more to your credit and point, recognizing and establishing what the latitude that is essentially offered or more or less baked into a particular system is critical to understanding how useful that system is going to be to you as a game master. And
Yeah.
everybody's different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
and
point.
Chris just pointed out, I try to restrain myself when it comes to the next best RPG release, but playing different games is like going to different restaurants. You need to have people with you who are in the mood for that, which is a very good point.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Jason, here's my question about Kids on Bikes because I liked the mechanics of Kids on Bikes.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about this. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was like, the exploding dice. I love having your attributes have a die that's what you roll. Really cool stuff. So it was really neat. And I thought the system itself was pretty interesting. I thought it was very strange in the first edition, and one of the things that kind of turned me off is they spent a whole lot of time on trying to make the table safe, which is great. But I mean, they and were trying to make the table safe, which is wonderful. But
Hmm.
then they had their examples of play or their examples of how things went, and they confused the game more than they illuminated it. Because like I thought I understood a mechanic, and then they went, or this could happen. I'm like, I don't need all the ors. I just need you to give me an example of how this works. And they really muddled up the system. So it was
Right.
very hard to read. I don't think Kids on Brooms did a much better job. In fact, I didn't even finish that book. So for second edition Kids on Bikes, did they clean that bit up?
Uh, well, okay, maybe. I have to admit, for second edition, I didn't read any of the play examples because I've run it a ton. So I didn't need that. I only needed the rules. So I'll have to go check that out. There is a lot more explanation of everything. And if you weren't crazy about the amount of time they spent on safety, there's twice as much in this book.
See,
There's a lot.
I didn't mind that they spent so much time on safety. It was that they spent so much time on that, and their explanations of play didn't seem
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get the same level of care
All
to
right.
where they
I'll have
weren't
to go
as
reread
clear
that.
as the other things. So that was what I was struggling with.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
make the game safe. You're dealing with bizarro issues. That's fine. We want people to have fun at the table. But when you do an example of play, if it doesn't explain what you're trying to do as well as the thing that's not actually part of a gameplay, that I just found that a little bit the
Yeah. It
this
may still be that
discontinuity.
way. I'll have to get back to you on that.
So
One thing that I thought was funny is they lean more into the bike metaphor than in the previous books. So I
do they
think the
really?
previous books had your pause the game, your red flag thing was a quick knock. You knock twice on the desk, and that means skip the scene or pause or whatever.
Okay.
But it's more descriptive than that. Their options for I'm uncomfortable with this are like slam on the brakes or backpedal if you're uncomfortable in the scene, you'd rather replay it as something else,
Okay.
or speed up your pedaling so you go past this part.
Let's get through this quick. That's actually pretty. That's a
Which is
neat
the
way
same
of lean
thing, but
into
it's
it.
like, okay, I guess that's cute.
Hey, listen,
Fast forward is your
Yeah,
alternative to turning the lights down low,
or fading to
yeah.
black, right? We're
fading to
just fast
black.
forwarding.
Yeah.
It's a
Actually, I
quick
wonder
cut.
if Jason Cordova's kickstarting a second version of his public access game right now.
Oh, really?
It's really weird. It's like you play people who have discovered these mystical videotapes from an old like local
Yeah,
access chase.
yeah.
But I wonder if he did that. Like, did he use the fast forward rewind metaphor? I'll have to ask him.
People don't even understand like the be kind rewind. Like back
Yeah,
in my day, we literally had little things on the table that looked like race cars that you could put it in and
yeah.
it would auto rewind the tape.
Yep.
We did too with our first VCR because they told us that we'd wear out the motors rewinding all the time.
Oh my
Like
gosh, it
at
was
my
so
house, we
awful.
did. Not even
Anything to sell one extra appliance, right?
right.
And
Exactly. That was
we
it.
had
We fell
all
for
of
it. Well, my
them.
parents did.
That's awesome. I need to pick up the second edition of Kids on Bikes because I want to play it at some point because I thought the system was
So
really
I
interesting.
thought you were going to ask me about the world building in the beginning, the collaborative stuff, which is
Okay.
still in there. So that is something, and I think you guys know that I've talked enough about Brentwood Bay that that is my thing now is let the players help as much as you can possibly can. So that was great for me, but
Yeah.
it's another thing that I would warn people about, Chris. Like I was just saying, like by the way, this isn't a roller coaster that the DM built. This
Like
is
you're building this.
we all build the
Yeah,
jigsaw puzzle.
and that every participant, to some extent or another, is expected to lend a hand and
Yeah.
participate in that way. I
Now
Now,
think
I
that
before I
am
let
here's
Wes
what's like.
say
Go
something,
ahead.
before I
Go
let
go
Wes
go.
say something, when I run these games, like because I run a lot of cons, right? The one
Right.
rule I have is if I ask you an open question and you feel uncomfortable, you're allowed to say I don't know, and then I'll fill in the details, because I want to hear from everybody, but somebody who's just having a bad day or a bad moment, I'm not going to stress them out.
Or they're at a
All right,
con
Wes.
and
yeah, yeah.
they don't want to do the
Yeah,
work. Like I'm at a con, I'm relaxing.
exactly.
So my thing when I was reading that the first time, and like I think I told you on the Discord, like I need to go back and reread particularly that section of book and then the shared psychic character
Yeah, that's weird.
because when I was reading this the first time, it's like pandemic's still technically going on. I'm stressed out of my mind. And the
Yeah,
only
really.
thing I could think of is I'm listening to them talk about this interview process going on is the only thing I could think of was a prayer circle, which is
Yeah,
as an
yeah.
introverted pastor is the most terrifying thing on the planet because I appreciate them for what they are, but you go around the circle and it's there's a very strange psychology to it because someone
Okay.
will say something in one prayer and then the next person on the other side will be like we're not really correcting their prayer but we're going to correct their prayer and then you have the person who waits till the end and they're the the eloquent prayer and they always go
Right.
last and so when I was listening to the interview I'm like I can't do that and I remember I was telling one of my groups it's like I know like I have PTSD from that like I can't do that now
Okay.
I am removed enough from it that I want to go back to like, okay, I totally understand what's going on from
Well,
this. I'm not in the high stress of the
yeah.
pandemic where everything is amplified.
But I mean, that's viable. I just don't have that experience because I
Yeah,
haven't been
yeah,
religious since I
it's
was like 16.
yeah,
But if you happen to like the game itself, you could not play that. You could just come as any other game.
yeah.
You could come prepped as a GM. Here's the world, here's the situation, and it would still play the same. The only reason I include that every time is because I like it, and I hope my
No,
players do.
And I
I've
think
gotten to the
that's
point where I
super
like
cool,
that
though.
now. Like I've come to enjoy that, but
Yeah.
I had to go on a journey to get there. And the first time I read Kids on Bikes, I was not there. Like I was just not there yet. I'm there now. Like I want to
All
go
right,
back
I've
and do it.
taken up a ton of time with kids on bikes. What's the next game?
What's your next game here? This is I haven't I've read most of this. This is a little zine. In fact, we might want to get this for book club.
Where'd you get this?
This is from I got this from Gamehole Con. This is from Hobbs, Bite the Bullet,
Huh.
and it's just a real simple kind of weird west little
Nice.
zine game, fast play. and it's a good time, man. It's a very good time. So, and I flipped
Cool.
through it. Nice stock paper, saddle stitch, fun
But you
things like
you would
that.
generally qualify it as Weird West.
It is. I would say it's Weird West. Yeah, the world didn't end with a bang. It just dried up. Crops failed. Government's town crumbled. The left.
Oh wow.
That left Gunsmoke, Sharp Word, and Faith. Now, generations later, people live in war torn settlements, carry Old Word Island, and cling to whatever beliefs kept them breathing. You got great ghosts and something you believe that's worth dying for. That's enough. That's the whole game. And I've read it.
That's
I've read
awesome.
most of it. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And there is some shocking detail in it. It's really kind of cool. It's very interesting. So,
Cool.
here, but that was short. So I'm going to go this one. This is all my read through. So my first game that I played besides D&D was Basic Fantasy RPG.
Yeah.
So, which is a fantastic game. So it's basically what Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy does. That's what Basic Fantasy RPG does. So it's very much Moldvay Cook chassis with some advanced stuff coming in. Very, very simple. Ran that for 2.5 years. It was a really good time. And I haven't done anything with Basic Fantasy for a bit. And so this is a adventure that Chris Gonnerman, who's in charge of the project, it is an open source project. So that's really cool. But
Nice.
what sold me on picking up a print copy of it is the artwork on the front cover is done by Gabe Fua, who is the same person who did the picture of Steve the Dragon for EcclesiaCon. So
Nice.
I was like, I gotta go support Gabe. Now he donates this
Nice.
to the project. He
Wow.
thinks he's not really a good artist, but I mean, Gabe's
I don't
really
know. That's
good.
pretty good.
And
And it's
what
just
what
neat.
edition what edition is that of Basic Fantasy?
Well, this is the current edition, so it's fourth. It's not
Okay,
everything's
it's fourth.
mechanically the
Okay.
same.
I was just double checking because I know it has gone through some iterations over
Yeah,
over the years.
it's they're very like the gameplay's not changed at all.
No, no, no,
Chris
no.
didn't even want to
It's
call
it's
it
li- it's
editions.
little things, but I'm curious.
Yep, but this is definitely the fourth edition because it's under the Creative Commons license. So, and the cool thing is you can download the PDF of this now and play it. And he's got Chris in Basic Fantasy in all of his encounters. They put the little boxes with how many hit points each creature has. And you can just check it off. And you say, well, I want to ruin my print book. Yeah, but I can just download the PDF on my tablet and blink, 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 and I'm done. And then erase. And it's very nice. I call them Gonerman boxes,
Nice.
which is fun. And it's a neat little campaign. I might try to run part of my Tales of Argosa with these guys, which should be fun. But that's next. And if people haven't checked out Basic Fantasy RPG, it's free. Basicfantasy.org. Go get it. Good times. Glenn, I see where people come from with PBTA, but for me, I find it doesn't satisfy as a generic chassis, though it has proven track record of adaptation to multiple settings.
Yeah, Glenn is making a good point,
Probably.
and a couple of people have been mentioning Powered by the Apocalypse games in comments here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm curious, guys. So potential hot take time. So
Hmm.
here's this whole family of games powered by the apocalypse and stuff like that. But each variant definitely has different flavor and subscribes to sort of the basic formula for the core mechanics and the general organization of the rules in a different way. So, for example, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, uh, Blades in the Dark or Iron Sworn or Star Forged, each of these is going to be a different take and very different from a apocalypse world or a dungeon world. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what's your? I find as an old grognard that the whole concept of the playbook grinds my gears a little bit, although there are certainly uh, aspects of it that in some of those flavors of PBTA I like, particularly Ironsworn and Starforged.
Okay.
Um, while It's nod and a wink at the meta manipulations is also a little challenging. And I'm curious, like, what's your guys' general take on PBTA? What do you like about it? And what specific flavors do you like? Because the other thing, and this dovetails into the other part of the conversation that we were just having, is about cognitive load and about how much demand it puts on GMs versus players uh, to make stuff up and manipulate things in the game setting world in the moment of the scene on
Right.
the fly, because I find that it works great for some crowds and super not great for other crowds, and I'm curious what you
Hmm.
guys think about it.
So my struggle with PBTA, and I have read Avatar. I have tried to read Blades in the Dark, which is not technically PBTA, but it's the same family of games. And Scum and
It has
Villainy.
some of the DNA.
It's the
I
DNA
lump
is
it
all
in,
there.
even though it's very different.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. It is.
but I do lump it.
It's in the
I
same
think the
concept.
fact that it's different, that it's more of a cousin, is
Yeah.
exactly why I actually like it.
And I've read Brindlewood Bay and I've read Dungeon World. Now, when I read Avatar, I got the core mechanic, 2d6, and there's different scopes of what the result is based on that, which I don't have a problem with. In fact, that's one of the things that I really like about running my chaos adventure for Numenera. I just make it up on the fly and I just riff off of people. I love that. It's so much more than planning every little meticulous detail out. So that doesn't bother me, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy reading or writing for a Sentinel Comics RPG, because the twists are in there for fun. So that's easy. All the PBTA books that I have read before Dungeon World did a terrible job of explaining the game, or a terrible job of explaining their take on the game.
Okay.
So to this day, I am still not completely certain how Avatar's balance works. In Brindlewood Bay, you have your little cozy items that you can check off your thing, but you're reading the book and they don't have the character sheet showing you what this looks like or where it is or even what that means. And I kept on expecting them to explain what checking this book off is, and they just never do. And I was like, what is happening? So I didn't know the nuances of what they were doing. So, and I paid your Dungeon World is written horrible. So here's the thing with Dungeon World. It's very piecemeal, and I read it online through their SRD. But they didn't try to like hack in some like extra stuff and never explain it. So that was the first one of the PBTA games that I read where I was like, okay, I understand what they want from me and playing the games that I didn't have reading Brindlewood Bay, even though I love the concept. And now that having played Dungeon World, I could go back and play Brindlewood Bay, no problem at all. But I didn't get it at the time. So that's always been my struggle with PBTA games. And as much as I think Brindlewood Bay is a really good game, I think Avatar's got a lot going for it. They just I don't know why every PBTA game that I've read has that assumption that I'll know what you're talking about, and they never define terms. So, Jason,
Okay, I have to admit, I have never read or played Apocalypse World.
I haven't either.
For
I
PBTA
think that it
games,
works in your favor.
yeah, I probably wouldn't run it even if I read it, but I should read it once because it's the core of this. But I loved Monster of the Week. I
I
would
need to
run
get that.
that again.
Monster of the Week is another one of the games that falls into this family of games that I think has a particular the the choices that make it unique within the family of games. They get it right. I think
Yeah, I
Monster
need.
of the Week is super cool.
I want to get
And
that.
I think about half the time people pitch me their ideas. It'd be cool to do this, like make this IP. I'm like, Monster of the Week, right? I mean, there's the obvious Buffy, Supernatural, and half
X
of X Files.
Files. Yeah.
But but yeah, there's just so many that episodic TV works.
And before we even go on any further, I think it is fair to note that I think as each of us coming with a different background, but a lot of collective experience, and uh, we love that we're lucky enough to have this many different kinds of games to
Oh my God, yes.
experiment with and be familiar with. And even if it's not my favorite, it doesn't mean that it's not a good game. And
No, that's
so
absolutely. It's just my
for
struggle
any
with it.
And
keyboard warriors out there who want to
yeah,
bend what I'm saying, I ain't
yeah.
saying
I
that.
We
I
don't
think
tend
it's
to
cool,
draw
and
them
these
because we
things all
tend to be
happen.
balanced. So
So Blades in the Dark is one of my absolute favorite TTRPGs, period. Like it's probably top three for me.
yeah,
Blades is cool. Blades is very
I
cool.
think, and I think it's probably about 50-50 whether it's a PVTA or not, because about half the people will say yes and half say no. And I'm like, that's perfect. Great.
yes,
I mean, it's strayed a lot because it has its own, right? There's
yes.
Forged in the Dark. Once you
Hmm.
have your own splintered framework, then you're kind of strayed.
You are a fork.
Um,
Yeah,
it's hard to read and pick up. Before I ran it the first time, I listened to some podcasts running it.
yeah,
And it's still, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a dense game. It isn't, there are parts of it that are so different from a standard D20 game. It'll be
Yes,
hard to get
exactly
from the
so.
yeah,
rules.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I finished about half of Scum and Villainy,
Hmm.
and I thought it was a really neat system. Like I want to run it. The problem is that it's organized for the way that my brain works. It's organized very strangely to where it kept on talking about all these things. Like, and we'll explain that in chapter 14. I'm like, then why are you talking about it here? Because I'm lost and the things that explain it are way over here. Can
Yeah.
you do the things that explain the nuance later? And I don't, it's almost like it's written backwards to me.
I think Blades in the Dark was a struggle. It's not great, but I'm not sure it could have been any better because for me anyway, it broke it set so many new things in place, right?
Yeah.
If you're coming from other games, the concept that yes, I have my playbook and you do too, but we also have a playbook for our team. It's like
Yeah.
that's okay, that's groundbreaking. Yeah, but also flashbacks and also stress and also regulated downtime. And then you can't plan. All these things could be seen as like breakthroughs coming from a D20 game. How do you, that's a lot to juggle. How do you explain all of that in the same book? I think it was a tough task.
It really
But
was.
I think you're right. And I think what's really interesting is I think we need to accept that here in the 21st century of in the role-playing game space, the RPG landscape, uh there are, basically everything that has been written in the WotC era that is not the Hasbro product with uh 90% plus penetrance in the market. Um you can write a system that expects somebody to be escaping the shackles of D&D. I
Sure.
yeah,
think
Okay.
that, and I think that that is whether it's a good choice or not, I think it's an approach to writing that clearly a lot of people take when they write an original system. And like I agree with you, Jason. It's like I think that if you didn't have any experience, if you had never played role playing games, and you say, "Oh, people are talking about Blades in the Dark. Let me pick this up and run it." It depends on who you are.
yeah,
Maybe you're going to take to that as a tabula rasa, as a blank slate. Maybe you're
Yeah.
going to take to that and say, "Okay, now I know how to do a role playing game, and this is the one I've chosen, and I love it." But I think that it banks on you understanding a lot about how it is different from the Hasbro product.
yeah,
I don't see, I don't, to me, it was just, there are so many cool elements to it.
yeah,
Everything I hear about Blades in the Dark is like, I want to play that. Like, I want to play with flashbacks. Like, I think that's awesome.
yep.
And I think if I sat down and played this game, I would love it. me trying to, and think about how I do my reviews. I'm trying to learn how to play the game.
Yeah.
I could not learn how to play the game through the book.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't
that
think
was a year ago or a year and a half ago, so maybe, maybe I've changed a little bit then. But it was just like I said, it felt like it was written backwards because so many of the things in the intro were referencing things on like page like 140.
Yep.
And then, like anytime that happens, my brain goes, "There's something weird here." Like if you need to reference this thing at the back half of the book while you're explaining a core concept, I think maybe you've
Yeah.
confused what the core concept actually is, and maybe that should be in the front. But that's my other people
I,
read it and they're fine.
I do think there's one thing about that I think, and I don't have numbers, I think there are more GMs stealing pieces from Blades in the Dark than there are actually running Blades in the Dark.
I'm
Like
Okay.
sure
who
that's
who
true.
hasn't
I'm
used
sure that's true.
yeah, who hasn't used the clock? I mean, it's just there are so many pieces. And it's
Yeah,
like, oh, flashback. Oh, okay. I use the equipment rules, the just check it off as you use it in every game I run.
I love
It's
that
just
game.
yeah.
I love that idea.
But so the other one you mentioned, Wes, Brindlewood Bay, which is
Yeah.
my absolute favorite TPRPG right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I wouldn't pile that up with the other PBTA games. I think it's PBTA because I need a framework and here's what I'm going to hang it on. And
Right.
it does use playbooks, but I think if you like Brindlewood Bay, the cool stuff about Brindlewood Bay is kind of separate. It's not PBTA stuff.
Okay.
It's the hey, here's a mystery and nobody knows the solution, even the GM. That's
Right.
why you play Brindlewood Bay, not for oh, if I roll 2d6 and I get higher than this.
No,
It's
that's one of the
very
coolest
different.
things about it.
But
Yeah.
the part about your problem with the rule book, absolutely true. And honestly, it's Jason's thing. He expects a certain type of game master. He's not trying to pitch to a wider audience, or at least he wasn't when he wrote that.
Okay.
That it expects that yes, you're going to be like, oh, what can I do with this? Not tell me step by step how to do it, and to to the limited audience. Although that brings me back to another. You guys were talking about are
We
these
have
games easy to run
we have
for
Clippy
GM?
in chat. I don't understand. I'm confused.
Nice.
Go
You
ahead.
guys were asking about like, is the game easy to run for GMs? I think that's one thing about Kids on Bikes. If you use the world building thing, or Brindlewood Bay, and to some extent Blades in the Dark, which assume like zero or very little prep for a GM,
Mm-hmm.
the GM has to be comfortable with improv. If you're coming to the game experienced or new, and you
Yeah.
just, I like it when things are written, there are a lot of games like this that just are going to be, I think you're going to struggle with, right? That part of the world building thing about Kids on Bikes and the entire framework, the entire storytelling of Brindlewood Bay expects you to react to your players, right?
Yeah.
And that's hard for some people. I mean, well, I'm saying some people like I'm the greatest GM. It was hard for me for the first 20 years.
No, for sure, for sure.
That's actually something I enjoy about it. I would find Kids on Bikes more daunting than Brindlewood Bay.
Brindlewood Bay has no structure at all.
That's
And by the
why.
way, I stole I stole parts of Brindlewood Bay when I wrote Hint. So I was
Nice.
like, well, I told him,
Yeah. But
but
that's the whole thing is like Brindlewood Bay's got no structure, so I am
yeah,
reacting to the players in real time. So reacting to them feels more natural because
yeah, that makes
this
sense.
thing is out and it goes out. Whereas in Kids on Bikes, everybody's got their list of things, and now I got to figure out how to put all these things together in the puzzle. And I find that more difficult than just making it up on the fly and writing it down
It
later.
is right because where you improv is completely different. Kids on Bikes,
Hmm.
you don't know what world you're going to be running.
Right.
Brindlewood Bay,
Yeah.
you set the world. Here's our town, and the circus just came to town. Ready, go. But at least you know there's a circus coming. So yeah,
Yeah. So
that's
that's
true.
kind of struggle. That's why we all play different games and run different games, which is half
Clock
the fun.
functions. Yeah, really.
Always have the clock functions. All right, somebody else give me another book. I'm out.
I don't
Well,
know
I
how
do
long
have
we
one
can
on the
talk
shelf.
about Kobolds Ate My Baby. So,
I was gonna say, so it's a segue from kobolds into the one other thing that I'm looking at that
oh
has
yeah,
been
yeah.
that I've been threatening to do that has come back that's has almost the same pedigree and that is from ninth level games originally 25 years ago is Ninja Burger.
Oh yeah.
I
And
don't know that one.
Ninja Burger is fascinating. Ninja Burger originated at the turn of the millennium as a straight up joke. The idea is that I think they were even Silicon Valley uh, programmers, and they said, you know what, it would be really cool if ninjas ran a burger shop because when we got hungry for takeout, it would just already be here and they could get it into our secure building and they'd already have our credit card number. And in the year 2000, this was a really funny concept. But so they created this joke website, which is still up and still available. It's called ninjaburger.com and they sold T-shirts, and they also came out with a saddle stapled, folio-sized, zine type rule book, which I also have in this shelf back here, and it is now in its second edition since really for a long time. I want to say for well over a decade. It's Ethereal Forge is now the current publisher, and so it is available on DTRPG and it's a beer and pretzels style game that is got a wonderfully dry but relentless sense of humor where you play a ninja delivery person who's trying to get fast food orders places and I have been wanting to go back to that since playing it, decades ago, and basically mine it and reconfigure it as a hack for ICRPG. But you can still buy the original Ninja Burger, and it is well worth a look. It's not terribly expensive, and it is an absolute hoot. And they lean into every joke so hard. It's a delight,
I
truly.
really need to get ninth level
It
games
does
on
sound a
here.
little bit like everything Goose Poop Games does.
Yeah, that's another person I
Kind of
have to
the
talk to.
same kind of thing.
Here, I lied because I do have one more game.
You have one of his?
No, I got it. One more game to talk about. So, if anybody else doesn't have one,
Well, I have
anybody else
games I
got?
can talk about. I'm just not
Well,
reading
which
them.
one are you reading? This is my Rico. I haven't opened this up yet.
Oh
Tops.
wow. Okay.
Ooh. Now this is kind of interesting. So, see the logo?
Yeah.
So they're Solarian games now. So they got into the whole mess with that back in the day. So they still have the original print box on here. I loved Top Secret back in the day. So I had
Top
the original
Secret,
copy.
the
Yes.
TSR era, Merle Rasmussen
Yeah.
Yeah.
was my favorite TSR era game, hands down. I started playing it in whatever, 1980, 1981,
He
and I
wrote
played
this.
Yeah.
that for a solid decade. I loved everything about that. It was just an absolutely wonderful, as clunky as it was, but uh, the projectile weapons choices were like over simulated to a fault, but
Yes.
absolutely delightful to enjoy and sink your teeth into. But what really was great was the hand to hand combat. Uh,
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, they do have a great hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, from Operation fucking Haltestelle to Ace of Clubs and everything in between. Just
Yeah,
it was
little
a good thing
standees.
that happened to the uh the RPG game space in the 80s.
They have
Yeah.
vehicles,
I have to admit the
cards.
only 80s TSR game I played aside from D&D was Gamma World. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
I didn't
right
play
on,
Boot Hill or Top Secret.
right on.
And as far as I know, nobody played Gangbusters, but maybe somebody
No,
did. I don't.
nobody played Gangbusters, and I guess about 6 people bought the Indiana Jones role-playing game, but that was it.
Oh, I forgot. That yeah, I was thinking of their own IP, but yeah, they did do that. And later Buck Rogers.
But Top
Big
Secret
mistake.
was truly wonderful. It really was.
I loved both editions too. I didn't mind the SI version
When they went to the SI. And
because
the thing is, at the time, it was still the Cold War era, and
yeah,
so you could get. I mean, I
Yeah.
think they did a better job of capturing the feel of a tabletop version of a James Bond experience than Victory Games did, and they had the IP
for
from
James Bond,
Universal Artists for James Bond.
I think you are correct.
Yep.
They really did. So we got. Oh, look! I didn't even notice this when I pulled out.
Special vehicles from Top Secret. The
It's a
game that we
module.
designed nothing but vehicles for was Car Wars.
Car
I love
Wars.
I'm
Car
like, wait, it's a
Wars.
game too? I thought we were just making cars.
Car Wars was how Steve Jackson got on my radar.
Yeah.
And oh man, boy, do we play with tiny, tiny cardboard chits.
Yep.
Hours and hours and hours of Car Wars. Uncle Eddie was your friend.
You can still buy it too.
Yeah,
Car
You can
Wars?
buy the
Yeah.
original. You can buy the original version. They have it in that little cassette deck thing.
yep.
Here's the core rule book. I
That
mean
is amazing.
that looks like the original, doesn't it? So the layout is very 80s. So it's very
Yep.
simple, but it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to getting
Relentless,
into it.
relentless 2 column.
Relentless, yeah,
Yeah.
endless two column. So I'm looking forward to getting into it as I drop everything in front of my mic.
But yeah, as like that whole kind of self-contained cardboard chit
Yeah.
style of games, which was, I mean, the concept was really borrowed from what Avalon Hill had already been doing for a decade before that. But
Oh yeah,
and
pre-roll came out, right? Yeah.
Ogre was the other one with the sci-fi tanks. That was
Mhm.
something else.
I tried to get my friends to play Toon a couple times, but
I want to play that so bad.
I still have my first edition, and he just kickstarted. I just got an update today. He just kickstarted another edition.
Yeah, I didn't have any money to do it. Second edition Gamma World.
Well, I did it. And that's why I have no money. So you were on the right track. Yeah, I still have my original like soft staple bound uh, Toon.
I have the first edition Gamma World as PDF. That was the one that I played. I picked this up later. So
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah,
So
I played that less than D&D and less than Top Secret. Like I said, Top Secret was my go-to for so many years during that TSR era. But I did certainly play a fair amount of Gamma World, and First Edition had its ups and downs. I mean, like I said, it was bold in its approach, but it was
Yeah.
certainly clunky in other ways. And the game has changed quite a bit in the subsequent editions that revised the rules.
well, I have the last edition that got published, and they basically turned it into a collectible card game. It
I
did not
never
make me
I
happy.
never actually owned it. My friends did, and we'd play it when they were coming over or whatever.
Always fun times. All right, anybody else
Although
got a book they're reading? Go ahead, Jason.
I
As
was
you
just
go
going to
ahead.
say trivia for those who are not as old as we are is that if you have the first edition DM's guide from 79, there was a little section on how to convert your characters to Boot
Yep,
Hill and Gamma
in
World
Gamma
Yep.
World, that's
because
right.
they were trying to pre-sell their games.
Literally do right there. Yeah, it was like built-in ad.
I
Yeah,
thought
it's
that was
funny.
great. All right, who else has got a book to read? Otherwise, we're gonna work on shutting down.
That's all I'm reading.
That's all you're reading.
My cards are on the table.
There we go. All right, cool. Well, that was fun. So we got a lot of games that are coming out. I do need to get Kobold's Ate My Baby on my radar.
Worth it,
Well,
definitely
then I'll
worth
It,
it.
know what All Hail King
I
Torque
think
actually means.
everybody should buy the book to read it because it's a funny as hell book,
I
even if you're
read two
never gonna
pages and
play
I
it.
was laughing.
My favorite is the full page about kobolds eat are cannibals, and they also love eating humans, especially babies. And there's a whole page about do not eat babies. We cannot emphasize this enough. Do not eat babies.
I love the ninefold
Yeah,
alignment table where
yeah.
it's like awful hungry. It's really awful.
I
It's
need to
funny.
read this book. This is going on.
It's good.
Doctor Who various games. I've never played a Doctor Who RPG,
I wasn't
so
into Doctor Who either, so I probably would have dove into the game.
you've just broke me.
I know. I never watched any of the Doctors. Like I knew who they were, and I probably saw an episode here or there, for at least from Tom Baker on. But I watched
Wow.
Star
Hey,
Wars. I watched
if
Star Trek.
there's no scarf, I'm gonna barf. That's all I'm gonna say.
There you go.
My daughter got me this for Christmas.
Very, very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
So we have King Eric. Are there any RPGs set in Old New Testament times? Not that I know of.
Well, old slash new covers a lot of
I
ground.
thought
That's a
somebody
couple thousand years.
did a what does that qualify as? Sandal punk? I thought somebody put out. It's like I'm sure there's a GURPS. I
I'm sure. I
guarantee
mean,
that there's a GURPS.
anything Bronze Age you could just
Well,
throw in. You're fine.
it depends on what you're looking for. There are certainly games set in ancient Rome, but if you specifically are looking for something,
Like Old Testament, you got to go a
yeah,
thousand
like
years
in,
earlier.
you know,
I don't know. I did not. I know of none. So I want to watch Doctor Who, but from the start, hard to find.
oh boy,
Good luck, Chris.
that's a
All
lot of
your,
hoops.
that's a lot of Who. It's 50 years of Who. So yeah, but that was kind of fun. So Jason, we're on tomorrow night at 8:30.
8:30.
We're going to be covering Daggerheart, the last three chapters, and we'll talk about how awful it is to GM. I mean, no.
Well, we won't because I don't know how awful it is to GM. I have fears about it,
How?
but we will
Yeah,
ask the
I'm not.
people that have GM'd if my fears are justified.
Have you? And both Craig and Calvin have GM'd it, so
Yeah.
we're in good company there. Have you run a 2D20 game?
No, but I've played a lot because I played with Al at the store.
You play with Al, so it's basic. It's I mean, threat and fear are basically the same thing.
It
So
definitely
if
feels
you've
like
ever
that.
watched that happen,
It's
yeah,
actually one of the questions I have for you guys tomorrow is how to hold and spend. It's like the Kenny Rogers the Gambler song. You got to know when to hold them,
Know when to hold them,
know
know when
when
to
to
fold them.
fear them.
I do hate it. It's like we're going to preview. I hate it when people put charts out. It's like if you want this type of encounter, you should spend this much fear. I'm like, no, I just want to play the game. Like, stop giving me targets to hit. It makes things harder. Just let me figure it out. So I want to ruin it myself. Can I please do that?
I think the approach to any system that has a GM meta currency, if you are under the gun for such a
John
thing,
Carter.
is to spend that crap. Is like it's like if
Basically,
I don't want to be sitting there with 8, 10,
Yeah.
threat, fear, and stuff like that. It's like if I see an opportunity for a complication, I may bank a couple, but boy, I'm gonna drop it on you and make this a drama. Let's have some stuff happen.
yeah, that's one of the things that I like
Yeah.
about Modifius when they talk about threat. They're like, just spend it. Like,
Yeah.
spend the dang stuff. That's what makes the game fun. And I think at Daggerheart, there's this self editing where, like, you don't want to make it too hard. I'm like, these guys can
Well,
blow
there is a
anything up at
max.
first
You can
level.
only ever bank 12, but
Yeah,
And
12 is a lot.
it's the
it's a
same
lot.
thing. It's the same thing on the player side. I think that
Yeah.
you, as the game master, can encourage the culture when it comes to using metacurrency mechanics, the culture at your table. Because if you hoard it and you're stingy with giving players their equivalent, then it's as if it doesn't exist.
Right.
But if you give it out, and and it doesn't mean you have to be nuts. You don't give it for, you get a participation award for surviving another round or tying your shoes,
Yeah.
which you kind of do, no offense, but you kind of do in Daggerheart. But in other games where it's like that, if you earn it or you do it or you get that point of whatever it is and you get to have it, um it prompts your players to rise to the occasion, to think outside the box, to try things. And that makes it a delightfully entertaining game, both for
Mm-hmm.
players and the game master, when your players surprise you with what they want to try when they take advantage of those meta currency advantages. So,
We
I
we
mean,
like
I
that.
think that it's you just have to have if you don't get in the habit of using that kind of stuff as a GM and encouraging the use in your players, you don't develop the chops to refine your use of it. So you might as well give it a whirl.
Yeah, don't be scared. Just play. Press the button. All right,
Yeah.
so we have a question in chat that I guess we have to deal with. Is Tarzan considered the first superhero, or does the Phantom predate him?
Okay.
Ooh, good question.
Um, Tarzan as a story predates the Phantom, but the
Correct.
Phantom in comic strips would have. Well, we're just going to get into a giant debate if I say the Phantom is the first superhero because, like,
Well, is Tarzan a superhero?
well, Tarzan had no superpowers, but neither did the first Phantom. He had a
Well,
gun.
I'm not saying does he have, but is he a superhero?
But there were others, the Shadow, right? Basically, a
Yeah,
guy with a mask on his face.
and
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 at
a
what
gun.
point are you a superhero? Do you need superpowers?
No, I'm not. I
Because
don't think
in the
superpowers
30s,
is the thing.
most of the superheroes were just guys who put on masks and beat people up
They were
or
costumed
shot them.
adventurers. Yes.
We don't
And
do
in
that nowadays,
fairness,
but
that's my favorite kind of superhero. I've
yeah.
always preferred the Batman archetype.
Well,
So
Batman used guns in the early 40s.
he really did. So
We didn't.
Tarzan predates the Phantom as a fictional character.
Edgar Rice Burroughs predates Tarzan stories, predates the Phantom, yeah.
So Phantom is
Well,
first.
you know what?
Gilgamesh first superhero. Yeah.
So
Shush.
the Phantom, Lee
Good
Falk
call.
was the
Good
original
call, Glenn.
artist.
Glenn is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy who wrote the Phantom, Lee Falk, also wrote Mandrake the Magician, who I'm pretty sure predates the Phantom by about a year.
Huh.
Okay.
But is that a superhero? He fought crime, but he was literally like a stage magician.
Who knows, man? We're good. So no, Gilgamesh predates Samson. Eric, sorry. Gilgamesh
Gilgamesh.
first. Gilgamesh is first. So very good. All right, so we solved that. So tomorrow night, 8:30 here, we're discussing Daggerheart. We'll get more into how much we critique the game, and there's two people in the panel who really love the game, and then I've played it once. I thought it was fine. It was
Well, I
okay.
don't dislike the game. I'm just
I don't like
reading
it.
it for the first time.
Yeah, so it change. Yeah, it changes your perspective. All right, so for folks who weren't here when we started, you want to see the new stinger for after I say let's roll it?
All right.
Please.
Ready? Let's roll it. I like that. I think that's
There
going
you
to be
go.
kind of
Nicely
fun.
done.
So, all right, folks, we will see you tomorrow night, 8:30. Thank you, Chris and Jason, for coming on and hanging out
And
because I
thanks
got
for
to
the
check my room.
opportunity. And I just
Thanks.
wanted to say, Wes, that we are looking forward to seeing a lot of these games get played in person at EcclesiaCon, which is what dates?
May 1st and 2nd, man.
Thank you very
Registration's
much.
below in the little ticker, and I got
A-
Chris sign up there too.
And that's right. Crit, the community run internet tabletop, our online virtual con, free to play, open and welcoming to everybody. Registration opens online on April the 20th next month. And we game with you around the clock for 9.5 days, starting the evening of Juneteenth. But official game sessions are going to be the 20th through the 28th of June. More at gameatcrit.com.
There you go. And Jason, where are you going to be next weekend?
Oh, I'll be at PAX East,
Very good.
giant
Nice.
video game thing in Boston, which is becoming increasingly more cardboard and RPG game
Nice.
invaded every year.
We're taking over, man. We're taking over. So
Yeah.
Folks, thanks for hanging out with all of us. We will talk with you soon. Stick around on the line, guys, so I can say goodbye to you. And until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.